Okay. Everybody needs happiness and they're afraid of pain. The spiritual teacher, therefore, out of compassion, imparts instructions which remove suffering and produce bliss. Okay. So here, so this is clear. I think it makes sense. Let's just talk about spiritual teacher. What should be the characteristics of a spiritual teacher? We can discuss a little bit on that, and then we can talk about a little bit about suffering and pain. Okay. So what do you think could be a characteristic of a spiritual teacher? Who could be the ideal spiritual teacher? Who should be an ideal spiritual? Okay. Okay. All right. Anything else? Vineet? Shreya? Oh, Shreya is gone. Internet is off for her, maybe. Okay. Oh, you don't see my dog? Yeah, I can do that. I'm just wondering if there is any other better desktop sharing software which works on, does not have issues. I know TeamViewer is a good one. Maybe we should, okay. TeamViewer is actually a good one which works on low bandwidth also. So either we try with TeamViewer next time. But it does not have audio, it does not have good audio. But can you see it now? What I would do, I would just change my screen resolution, make it less, so it takes less bandwidth too. Alright, so my screen should be shorter now and should get update little faster because it would require less bandwidth. Okay. Oh yes, that would be best. Let me, and should I send to Vineet also? So Vineet Shah.95 and Shreya Shah. No, I don't know. I don't have Shreya email. I'll just send it to her later. Yeah, you should have gotten email now on your Gmail. Chahdhala English. Okay. All right. Okay. So, ideal spiritual teacher educated himself from texts, already on the path, practices yoga, meditation, dhyan. Okay. So I can understand what you're saying, but let's just talk about the source. A person who is already on the path or educated himself from text, let's just think about the sources of text. Where would the knowledge is coming from? What do you think about that? And okay, So that would be a right? That would be a teacher at a higher level, and he would have already educated himself also based on some text. And how about the source? Who would be the real original spiritual teacher from where all the texts are coming? So let's just give it a thought. Who would be the real source? Who would be the source? And what characteristics would be the source would have? So let me just ask you a question. The source should have a limited knowledge or unlimited knowledge? Vineet, what do you think? And unlimited would mean infinite, right? Because anything finite is limited, right? So source should have infinite knowledge, and why would he have an infinite knowledge? Why not? Wouldn't finite knowledge suffice? So it turns out infinite knowledge is actually needed for the source, because anybody who has finite knowledge is only going to give us solutions from his finite knowledge, and may be able to give us local solutions, but for a long term and the best solution we can only be sure if it's coming from a source with the infinite knowledge, or with everything in the universe who knows all the laws through which universe works. Only that person could be our ideal source. If someone with finite knowledge tells us anything, we are not sure, though he may tell us the right path, but we are not sure. But anybody who knows all the laws of the universe knows everything, and if he's telling us something, we are sure that what he's saying is right and the right path for us. Does it make sense? Okay, the source should have infinite knowledge, and what else should he has? What else do you think he would have? He should have infinite knowledge. That's one. What else could he? What other qualities should he possess? Can you think of any? Okay. 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 All right. So he should have compassion and having desire to tell the people. Okay. What else? Okay. And he should himself be spiritually uplifted. He should have spiritual bliss. He should be blissed. So one of the characteristic of soul is to, one of the desire of anybody is to get happiness, as we talked about. So he should himself have attained the, the real happiness, the real bliss himself, because if he himself is not happy, infinitely happy, he cannot really tell happiness to others. Okay. Now it also turns out he does not have attachments, emotional attachments to anybody. If the problem with emotional attachment is, let's say I have an emotional attachment, I love something, I love my cell phone. Okay, let's say if I love my cell phone and if I lost it one day, I'll get sad. I'll be just looking around where it's gone. So if the source who has infinite knowledge and spiritually blessed, if he gets attached to anything, emotionally attached to anything, and that thing gets evaporated off or something happens, he will be suffering. Okay, so it turns out he does not have any emotional attachment, or you can say he can love everybody, but equally. There is no duality of loving someone and hating someone. He is equal to everybody. Whoever comes to him, he gets the same preachings or the same kind of advice. Does it make sense? Yes or no? Okay. And he has compassion, has desire to tell people. Go ahead. Okay. So I would word it this way. He is, he would be a teacher. I mean, he would be telling others what is right, what is wrong, right? So he would play the role of a teacher, because if he is not a teacher, he is not telling anybody that there is no use of the source. If he has infinite knowledge, he is spiritually blessed. But if he does not teach us, then there is no use of him for us. Okay. So in Jain terminology, if Shreya is listening, she's going to write the keywords, but she's not. So infinite knowledge we call Keval Gyan. Have you heard of this word? Okay. And Vitrag. So this is Vitrag. Okay. The three words, these are Hindi words. These are three characteristics of the source. And who is the source? Actually, they are Arihant. Okay. So when you say Namo Arihantanam, the Arihant, they are the source of all the knowledge, all the right knowledge in the universe. And these are the three characteristics they have. They have infinite knowledge, which is Keval Gyan. Their teacher, Hitopadeshi. Hitopadeshi literally means they tells us useful or right. I should say right. Tells us, teaches us. Teaches is the right word. He teaches us the right things to us. Okay, and they are definitely have a spiritual bliss, which is infinite bliss. They have unlimited bliss. And they don't have emotional attachment, that is Vitrag. Okay. Alright. Make sense? Okay. So if there is any God who does not have infinite knowledge, that actually cannot qualify to be a God. Okay? Are you guys with me? Mona is gone. Vineet, are you with me? Okay. Now let's come to next. The spiritual teacher, therefore, out of compassion, imparts instructions which remove sufferings and produce bliss. Okay. So let's do an exercise little bit. Let me just ask you some question about suffering. So let me ask you example of someone who you think suffer the most. Maybe this example may come from your life or whatever you read. Whom you think suffered, one of the, I should not say the most, but you have thought he really suffered in his life. Right. They suffer most because of the pain. Anybody else? Yeah, outside of humans too. Right. 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 Okay, that's good. An example of someone who never suffered in life. Okay. Okay. But they also suffer. They cry. Never suffer. Right, yeah. Yeah, so essentially you don't see anybody who hasn't suffered. So everybody has sufferings, and that's the job of the spiritual teacher. That's what, a spiritual teacher does. Out of compassion, he takes us to the right path, okay? And takes us to the position where we can experience the bliss, and bliss which is never ending and unlimited. Okay. Should we go to the next stanza? Okay, let's do the next one. Third one. Let me just open the book. So from the book I'm going to read the third stanza. ता सुभ्रमण की है बहु कथा, पै कछु कहो कही मुनि जथा, काल अनंत निगोद मंझारी, बीत्यो एक इंद्रियतन धार. Okay. So this is a very interesting one. Let me just read out its translation. Oh no, I read the wrong one. Stanza 2 is I have to read now. ताहि सुनो भविथिर मन आन, जो चाहो अपनो कल्याण, मोह मना महामद पियो अनादि, भूली आपको भ्रमतवादी. Okay. So if you desire your welfare, listen to those teachings with an attentive mind. All who are worthy of liberation, being intoxicated by the strong liquor of delusion, since eternity, the soul has forgotten its nature and has been wandering aimlessly in the world. Okay. So in the previous stanza they talked about the teacher. The teacher is going to show us the path from sufferings to the bliss. Now in this stanza, it's talked about, if you want your welfare, then we should listen to those instructions with an attentive mind. And then it says, being intoxicated by the strong liquor of delusion, since eternity, the soul has forgotten its nature and has been wandering aimlessly in the world. Now let's talk about, what is this strong intoxication by the strong liquor of delusion. Okay, so what is the delusion? Okay, so what is the real delusion? Do you have any idea, Vineet, what could be the delusion? Yeah, so you can watch my screen now. Yeah. So being intoxicated by the strong liquor of delusion, since eternity, the soul has forgotten its nature and has been wandering aimlessly in the world. Right. Come again. So it's continuing from the previous stanza where it talks about the spiritual teacher, therefore out of compassion imparts instructions which remove suffering and produce bliss. So these are the instructions it's talking about. Right. Mm-hmm. 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 Right, 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 right. So in Hindi it's called moh. Okay, and what actually is this? What is moh? It's actually there are two things to moho. One is wrong understanding of I. Okay, and then passions. So I would say moho is of two types. One is wrong understanding of I, and then passions. Okay, wrong understanding of I. What is it? Who am I? Okay, right. So we consider ourselves body, then that's a wrong understanding of I. If I ask you what is your weight, you would say my weight is 140 pounds or 170 pounds or whatever, some number. Okay, but that's not the weight of the soul. That's the weight of the body, and you are the soul, so you don't have any weight. Okay, so we are connecting ourselves, identifying ourselves with the body, and that's a wrong understanding. And because of that wrong understanding, we have passions, we have a lot of attachments. If we think we are the body, we will try to beautify it, we'll try to make it look good. Okay, we will spend too much time to take care of it. But if we think we are soul, then we will take care of the soul. We'll try to purify the soul, make it happy, make it good. But since we are thinking about the body, we just become engrossed in the bodily activities and all the things which connects to the body. So we take care of the body is taken care by the shelter, by the house, because house protects us from cold and the hot weather, and all the things which are associated with the body, we develop attachments with all those things. Okay, and the more attachments we develop with multiple things, the more sufferings we get, because things don't happen as we want, and we develop a lot of attachments and a lot of desires associated, which do not get fulfilled, and finally we end up suffering. Okay, so this is moho. Being intoxicated by the strong liquor of delusion, the soul has forgotten its nature. Okay, so now we understand how it causes our attachments by delusion, wrong understanding, and how does it take away peace from us. Okay. Another wrong understanding is sometimes we think the money is going to give us the pleasure. Let's say, okay, the more the money we have, the more happy we'll get. Okay, let's say this is one understanding we have. But this is a wrong understanding, because if money gets us happiness, then all the people who has the most of the money will be the happiest person on this earth. But that's not how really that's not actually true. Okay. Now there is also some other things associated with the moho. So let's say, as we talked last time, when we think that I'm different than body, I'm soul, we talked about, soul has many characteristics, but the real characteristic of soul is, just being observer and just knowing things. But if we consider ourselves, let's say I am very much intelligent. For example, you think that you are very intelligent, and the other person who is, your classmate, he is not that much intelligent. Then anytime you are talking to him and you have a discussion, you will just try to prove that you are right and he's wrong. Okay, and that also kind of gets you into a mode where you have always have possession, or you have always have passion to prove yourself before the crowd if you think you are intelligent. Does that make sense? Okay. So unless you identify yourself being just the observer, that's which your inherent quality, You always have passions, and you just keep running around with no with no end. Okay. So moh makes sense, I guess, now. Then we talk about eternity. So he's saying we have this strong liquor of delusion since eternity. Okay. So eternity, what does it mean? So there are two kind of religions in the world. Some religions have this faith that there is a beginning of the universe, and some religions think that there is no beginning of the universe. It has always been there. Okay. And here in Jainism, it is believed that the universe is beginningless. There is no begin and there is no end. Okay. So should we talk a little bit about eternity being, is there a beginning of the universe, or there is no beginning of the universe, beginningless? So let me just draw a table. Let's just do a quick exercise. Have you ever thought about it, whether the universe has any beginning or not? Okay. Eternity. Right, yeah. So eternity means, the beginningless state. I mean, the soul has been here since eternity. So from there, I was thinking, let me just tell you that, that universe has no beginning, because if there was a beginning, then there is no eternity. And eternity is... Right. Good. That's very good. So we are on sync on that. That's very good if you already realize that. Okay. The soul has forgotten its nature and has been wandering aimlessly in this world. So we are wandering aimlessly in this world because we do not know our real nature, that we are soul, and we are thinking that we are the body, and we have all the passions related to the body, and because of that, those passions, we just keep wandering in the world. Okay. Now let's go to next stanza. Somebody joined. Mona joined. No problem. I'm recording, so you can listen to it later also. So now, for the rest of the chapter, it's going to talk the various states of the soul, how the soul moves around in this universe, bearing multiple kind of states. There are infinite possibilities the soul can have. Okay, so I'm going to just read out the stanza 3. तासु भ्रमण की है बहु कथा, पै कछु कहो कही मुनि जथा, काल अनंत निगोद मंझारी, बीत्यो एकेंद्रिय तनधारी. Okay. All right. So actually, we're gonna just before I explain the meaning of this stanza, we just need to understand few basics. So various types of soul, of worldly soul, of the soul in this universe, in this world. So, the soul has infinite possibilities. Okay. I am also a soul. You are also a soul. I am a male. Mona is a female. That's a possibility. You can be a male. You can take a male shape. You can take a female shape. And there are all kind of possibilities a soul can have. In a broad level, there are two kinds of soul. One is free, okay, and other is bonded. Okay, the free is the soul which is liberated from this world, and the bonded is the one which is in the world. Okay, like me, you. Okay, we are bonded, which is called bonded by karma. Okay? And these souls have various types. Okay? And they're categorized, by number of senses. So, 5 senses. Have you, I don't know whether in USA, are you guys taught like that? There are 5 senses, right? Okay. So, there are 5 types of living beings. 1 sensed, 2 sensed, 3 sensed, 4 sensed, sensed. Actually, sense is not the right word. I should say beings with 1 sense. Okay, and then living beings with living beings with 2 sense. Do you know any example of living beings with 1 sense, living beings with 2 sense, living beings with 3 sense? Okay. Yeah, so for instance, yeah, right. Touch. Okay, right. So, the way it's categorized in Jainism is different the way it's categorized in the biology. In biology, they are categorized in a different way. In Jainism, it's categorized based on senses. And then say there are 5 senses, so they categorize with number of senses you have. The 1 sense is plants. Plants have just 1 sense of touch. Okay, they cannot smell, they cannot see, they don't have eyes, they cannot hear. Okay, but they can sense things. Similarly, water. So water is also a living being. The water which we see in the rivers, the water is actually the body, and there's a living being, there's a soul. Okay, so water is also living being as per Jainism, but the entire water, the big water which you see in the sea, that is not just one soul. There will be innumerable souls, small souls with very small, minuscule body in the sea or in the river. Okay. Similarly, fire also is a living being. Again, the size of a fire, the size of a living being in a fire would be very, very small, and there would be innumerable living beings, fire, which will make one flame. Okay. Similarly, earth is a living being, and air is also a living being, and they all have just 1 sense of touch. They can sense heat, they can sense cold, they can sense heavy, they can sense light, but nothing beyond that. Okay. Then we have the water itself. So that's interesting. The water itself, not the living beings inside water, like like all those moving stuff which you can filter out using filter cloth or any kind of filter. That is actually not the water living being. The water itself. Mona, are you with us on that? Actually, not the molecule. So the molecule which we see is a 2 hydrogen atoms and 1 oxygen atom. Now, in Jain scriptures, the atoms are not described this way, hydrogen and oxygen. The atom is defined as the indivisible unit, and which is said to be very, very small than the hydrogen atom which we see. So, if we see hydrogen atom, that is also made of, one electron, I don't know how many protons and how many neutrons. Okay, but in Jainism, it's the atom. When they say atom, the technical word is paramanu, which is very, very small. Okay, now when I say water as a living being, it means the water is the body of the living being, and one body of water is going to be very, very small than the H2O molecule which we know, because H2O molecule is around, I think 10 to the power minus 6 millimeter, around micron or nanometer, somewhere in that range. But the size of a water living being which is described in Jain scriptures is far smaller than that. So it's not something which is comprehensible by the current science. It's far smaller than what we can comprehend. Okay. But from this, the way you can look at it is this. That's why Jainism asks us to protect the environment. It asks us to do not play with the nature much. It asks us to use the nature with very much discretion and let the nature be however it is. Just make use of wherever it's really needed, because if we use a lot, we are going to hurt a lot of living beings. Okay. Living beings with two senses. Now Jainism says any living being with two senses are going to have two senses, touch and taste. Okay, and they are in Hindi I call them lat, peepli. In English I think they are worms, small worms. Snail is another one. They just have touch and taste. Okay, they cannot see anything. What is earthworm? Earthworm is also another one. I think small worm, earthworm is the right one. Earthworm is the one which comes out during the rainy season, right? And the three senses living beings is ant. It would have three senses: touch, taste, and smell. Okay, the ant can smell stuff and go to the right places where they can find stuff to eat. Okay, they walk on the ground usually. Four senses are mosquitoes, which are not very much in United States, but you can get them in India a lot. They have four senses: touch, taste, smell, and vision. What do you call it? Eye. See, sense to see. Okay. And living being with five senses, and this I think butterfly is also four senses. I'm not sure about butterfly, but mosquito I know, and fly. What do you call that? I don't know. Five senses are. Come again. Oh, okay. Okay. And then five senses ones are humans, and all animals like tiger, cow, snake, fish, and also those flying birds like I don't know, vultures. They have all the five senses. Okay. All right. So any questions on that? Okay. So the stanza is: the tale of its ramblings is very big. The tale of, remember we are talking about the suffering of the soul since eternity. The tale of its rambling is very long. I shall, however, describe it briefly in accordance with what the saints have said. infinite time has passed in Nigod. I'm going to talk about it. Invested, come again. Yeah, is that okay? Or you have to wait 2-3 minutes. Okay, I think then. Okay, no, that's okay. I think we will probably then close because only Mona is here. Shreya is also not here, so we'll close in a couple of minutes then. Nigod invested in a 1 cent body. So I think we should talk about Nigod. Now Nigod is going to be an entire discussion in itself. What actually is Nigod? Okay. So all right, so I think we're gonna close here, and I will give you some homework. So one thank you meditation which I told you last time, I'm gonna write it. I already have it written. If I give it to you, would you like to do it every day? Okay, so that would be your one homework, and other is you need to read these four stanza which we have done, and you just review the material what we have done so far, and if you have any questions, let me know. Would that be good? Yeah, right, yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna close, and we should just recite Namokar mantra. Okay, before we close, 3 times. Namo Arihantanam, Namo Siddhanam, Namo Airyanam, Namo Vajjanam, Namo Loe Savasavanam, Namo Arihantanam, Namo Siddhanam, Namo Airyanam, Namo Vajjanam, Namo Loe Savasavanam, Namo Arihantanam, Namo Siddhanam, Namo Airyanam, Namo Vajjanam, Namo Loe Savasavanam. Okay, then we'll meet next week. All right. Okay. Yeah, right, yeah, we can talk. So yeah, let me just stop the recording.